So hi everybody. Thanks for being here, for taking care of your sobriety. I think that's um, such a powerful gift to give yourselves on a Saturday and just to keep yourselves on track. And I wanted to talk a little bit today about my Friday sessions. I'm having Friday sessions to supercharge your sobriety this December and why, and then give you some tips as to how you can really take care and supercharge your sobriety. And I think the first thing is why is that so important? And what does it even mean to supercharge your sobriety? For me, it all started, I think back to my journey and my first Christmas or festive season and all the angst around the family dinners, the invitations, the year-end parties, how to show up, what will people think, what do I say, and what I can really offer is the first step is to be curious, just to be absolutely curious about your own thinking and feelings, and rather than judge them as, oh, I really don't want to, it's going to be so uncomfortable, is to really get clear on what are the sentences that you're telling yourself about the event. What is it what are the obstacles? What are you so scared about? Or what are you so resisting? Because that'll give you a beautiful clue into your beliefs about you and your beliefs about others. And when you're just curious and you observe yourself, you start to create awareness. And self-awareness and acceptance are two superpowers, I believe. If I think back on my journey, the awareness that I'm feeling uncomfortable, I'm feeling resistant, and then the acceptance of that that is okay. It's okay not to feel comfortable all the time. We are so wanting to almost have ease and happiness and not have challenges in our life. We think that our brain thinks that's not a good thing. Our primitive brain, which wants to call it the motivational triad. The motivational triad is all about seeking pleasure as a reward, as a way of safety, and that means that we don't want to be uncomfortable. The minute we feel uncomfortable, we want to get out of our uncomfort and we want to get to pleasure as quickly as possible and with the least amount of effort, which is why we often make choices that give us the immediate pleasure or the immediate relief. And that keeps us in a loop. It doesn't grow us, it doesn't evolve us. And when we keep spinning in the same loop, we have the same patterns and our life doesn't really change, which is even when we decide, I'm not going to go to a party because it's going to be too difficult. There's going to be too much effort to go there because I'm going to feel uncomfortable. I don't want to be dealing with people. People are boring. Notice all the thoughts I'm telling myself. And then I give myself the relief and say, well, I don't have to go. And I don't go. So in the short term, that feels good. It feels like, okay, I don't have to do it. I've got the easy path. But in the long term, it's not a good thing because we start to isolate. We start to feel like we don't belong, we're not included. Everybody else is having fun, but we're not. So I always challenge my clients, and my coach challenged me to go and to be and to be myself and to find the sentence that would empower me to go. So one of my first sentences was, I can do hard things. And when I was there, and it was hard, I would tell myself, it's okay, you can do hard things. And I would notice what was going on in my body. I would notice my clothing. I would just be very curious and observe myself in the situation. And then just listen to what people were saying, observing myself. And then I would get coaching on it afterwards. I would say things like, this one person said to me that she much preferred me when I was drinking. I was much more fun. And then it was an opportunity for me to work with that. What did I make that mean? And my coach challenged me, and she said to me, what if you are the fun? What if you go next time and you say, I am the fun? And my fun is not drinking. My fun is waking up tomorrow morning feeling really good about myself. My fun is being able to have conversations with people. And so I very slowly started to realize, oh, that feels good. So I started to really practice that. So I would go into situations and say to myself, it's okay, I am the fun. And what happened was that my body language changed, my engagement with others changed. I didn't stay long till after midnight, but when I was tired, I would go home. And then the best part would be waking up the next morning and feeling an accomplishment, like this beautiful emotion of accomplishment and self-trust. I did it, and pride in myself. And believe it or not, those emotions release serotonin. So whenever we feel self-trust, we feel good about ourselves, we have this beautiful neurotransmitter, serotonin. So, and when I would say to myself, I'm going to go do it with excitement, I'm going to challenge myself a little bit, beautiful, organic, dripping dopamine. So now I can just understand it, looking back at the brain and how the brain works, that when we challenge ourselves, we get the good dopamine. When it's just about working with our desire, our scarcity brain, the same motivational triad, then we get into a loop of not wanting to feel uncomfortable and just wanting to get the easy pleasure, the reward of the quick, concentrated dopamine that as soon as we've had it is gone, basically, which is why then the brain is saying, I want a bit more, I want a bit more. Maybe the next glass will give me the dopamine again. And of course, we know what then happens is we don't ever really get up there again. The way I can understand it, that for me describes it so beautifully, is if you think about people who get addicted to gambling, that you kind of know that the chance of you winning the money is low. But every time you pull that slot machine, there is a chance that maybe the next one will be the money. And then you get these drips of money that make you feel, okay, maybe the next, maybe the next. That's kind of what happens with any addiction. And which is also why the compulsion to keep drinking often comes, because the brain keeps wanting that first experience and then thinks, well, maybe the next or the next or the next is going to give it to me. So when I understood, okay, that's my brain goes into these loops, and it can do that with Netflix, it can do that with scrolling, all the things. But if I can get to understand my brain and how I'm the one who is the governor of this brain, and I understand how my dopamine and my serotonin and my oxytocin all work, I can be the one who controls it. And at the heart of it is getting uncomfortable, the more effort, the better the reward. Unbelievable. And when I understood that, I was like, oh, so the more I challenge myself, but I don't challenge myself in a way of feel the fear, do it anyway, that creates more cortisol. I do it from a place of curiosity and acceptance and awareness and love. I'm like, oh, we can do this. We're going to just challenge ourselves a little bit. We're going to stretch our comfort zone. And the worst thing that can happen is an uncomfortable feeling. And then we get to feel what an uncomfortable feeling feels like. And we can do that too. And then we get to have the full human experience. So that's what I want to invite you all to, is to really feel into your yes and into your no. So when there's something that feels a bit challenging, but on the back end, if you did it, would be good for you, do it. Challenge yourself a little bit. Go to that function and plan ahead of time. So I just want to say that when we know we're going to be going to a Christmas function or a year-end function, or we're going into a family situation that is usually challenging for us, it's a really good idea to really plan ahead for what are going to be the challenges, and then have a strategy and how you're going to overcome those challenges, what you're going to say, how you're going to negotiate all the drinks going around, what is going to be your drink of choice. So you just see yourself ahead of time in the situation. And then the most important part is afterwards to evaluate how it went. That is the gift of knowledge. That is the gift of awareness, because often we'll do it and we won't think about how did that go, what was uncomfortable about it. But I like to evaluate in the mornings, like, how did yesterday go? What were my challenges yesterday? Where was my growth yesterday? What is still feeling uncomfortable within me? And just to evaluate, and then to plan for when that situation comes again, how would I do it differently? And what I also want to just, in closing, I'm going to share with you is what I've learned from a neuroscientist whose coaching I'm busy certifying in, is what he calls a PQ rep. And a PQ rep involves shifting as much of your attention to your body and senses for at least 10 seconds. And doing these 10 seconds is like doing a rep for your muscles. It's like building a muscle. And what it's doing, it's building your self-command muscle in your brain. And the more stronger your self-command muscle, the more it helps you self-regulate your thoughts and your feelings. So when we have a very strong self-command muscle, we are able to click from our fight, flight, or freeze brain, which often happens when we are in a tricky situation or we get triggered, into our prefrontal cortex, which is where our possibility, our creativity, and our ease is. So where we are in the present, we're not scaring ourselves into the future or feeling totally disassociated because of the past. We bring ourselves into the power of the now. And how do we do that? So I'm going to share with you all in closing a PQ rep that you can do whenever you feel overwhelmed, to do this for just 10 seconds. And for those of you who want to really supercharge your sobriety this December, think about joining my Friday sessions. At my Friday sessions, we're going to be doing a lot of the coaching around how do we prepare and plan and negotiate this season as one of the seasons where we create the most empowerment for ourselves. How can we really use this time to get really stronger in our sobriety, stronger in our self-awareness, stronger in our self-love, and really at the same time create these beautiful neurotransmitters that create connection and accomplishment and enjoyment of life. Okay, so that's what I want to leave you with. And now I want you all to just close your eyes And just feel comfortable in your chair. And what I want you to do is I want you to rub 2 fingers together, 2 fingertips. Rub them together, but so gently that you can almost feel the ridges between the fingers. So just gently, gently rub the 2 fingertips together. Put all your attention on your 2 fingertips. And open your eyes. You've just done a PQ rep. You've just done a rep for your self-command muscle, and it's just brought you back into the present now. You can do this whenever you're feeling overwhelmed or you feel your mind is racing. Just do that for 10 seconds. And you don't even have to close your eyes. You can do it even when your eyes are open or you're in a situation, but just focus all your attention on the rubbing of the 2 fingertips together. Thank you. That's it from me. Any